Hi everyone, today we will be learning how to prompt effectively to create world-class AI agents. And this is the only prompt you need to get AI to work for you effectively. And so the objective of this video today is firstly to learn how to effectively prompt and speak to AI. And with that effective prompt that you have created, you can then further create useful custom AI agents and workflow. All these will be given in a full guide template that you can use and tailor to any other use cases, learn once and prompt forever. And before we proceed any further, I'd like to share a bit about myself. My name is Cal from Dynami AI, and my goal is to explore and share practical AI automation use cases and workflow we can build today to get ahead in the AI race. And so firstly, why did I choose to create this prompt engineering tutorial? Firstly, in this prompt engineering space today, there's a couple of problems such as number one, information overload. There are many different formats, tips, and tricks from other content creators and resources online, but there's just way too much information and the internet has made it more complicated than it should actually be. Secondly, there's also a lot of skeptics saying things such as it is just English, and that actually ends up with our AI actually giving us too vague and too broad answers instead. And lastly, another group of skeptics also would start to say that prompt engineering is dead. Do we even actually need it? And so I'd like to argue against this point to say that I do believe that prompt engineering is here to stay. Many big AI companies are still hiring for prompt engineers, and while the demand is high, the supply of great prompt engineers are actually low today. And so there are AI prompt engineering jobs that pays up to $375,000 a year or even more than that. And essentially, what prompt engineering is the foundation for using most AI models or speaking to any single AI in the future. And while the models do get great, someone still needs to talk to AI and talk to these models. And so essentially, as we progress, prompt engineering will change and it will effectively improve, but we will have to be able to learn how to effectively talk to AI to create strong automation workflows and effective use cases for any of our use cases moving forward. And so, good news, prompt engineering isn't actually that difficult. You don't need a PhD to make it work. You just need to be concise and clear. And so here's a simple strategy and guide that you can leverage right away. And what can you actually do at the end of the video after learning how to prompt effectively? Now there are three stages to prompt engineering that I would consider. The first level is you'll be able to firstly use AI to its full potential, right? To be able to talk effectively to the different AI tools that you're using and get accurate results for your use cases up to 90%. Secondly, of course, once you have passed this stage, you are definitely able to then build powerful custom GPTs and AI agents for specific tasks and use cases, making AI actually really work for you. Of course, taking it one step further, this is definitely also the foundation to further then build complex AI automation solutions that utilize multiple AI agents to complete difficult tasks. So all in all, prompt engineering is super important as it is the foundation to using any AI tools in the future moving forward. And so without further ado, we're going to learn the most effective prompt engineering template today and learn once and build powerful AI automations forever. Let's go. So before we go into it, do take this with a pinch of salt. While this template is useful in helping us get started, don't fall into the concepts of the templates, but think of the concepts behind the prompting itself, such as why are we prompting this specific manner, why are we putting in these concepts, and adapt and modify to your own specific needs. In that case, this template would then effectively work for you. And so for today, we're going to use an example of a YouTube title generator that we want to generate. However, it can be more specific and detailed to get better results, right? While the models are super strong and effective, this prompt itself is still very generic. And this one-liner doesn't guarantee that we get the exact results for our specific use case instead. And what we want to do is to really make sure the AI provides us with a specific result for our specific use case that is different from everyone else out there. And so we're going to use a simple template over here that consists of 6 different points, starting with the role, the task, the specifics, the context, the examples, and lastly the notes. And this is a template that I've been using for every single one of my AI agents and AI automation workflows to create powerful agents moving forward. Now before we continue with this slide, I'm going to show you an example of what the final result is like and then how we can actually build towards that together. If you can see, right, this is the YouTube title generator prompt that I will be using to create my YouTube title generator agent in GPT later on. Right, so over here you can see the first thing that I have is the role, the task, where I put in all the tasks that it has to do for me. And then moving on, I do have the specifics and I have the context and the examples of what I think would be a great output that they can provide for me, such as the examples of great titles that I would love to see or reference from, and also at the end of it, the notes. And so don't worry about it. We're going to go in depth into each of them and how I actually come up with these prompts effectively. Now, moving back to the slides, we're going to start off with the very first point, the role prompting. Right, so essentially the first thing we want to do when improving our prompts is to provide the large language model with a specific role such as a marketer, a writer, or an analyst. So basically, large language models like ChatGPT that we are interacting are very powerful with billions of tokens. But just like many talented humans, they can perform much better if we give them super specific tasks once at a time. Even the most talented people can't be doing every single thing all at once at a single point of time. So in this specific example, as we want it to be a YouTube title generator, I will give it a role by writing, "You are a professional YouTube title writer, specializing in generating surprisingly good titles that would make any YouTube videos go viral." And that is the goal that we want. So over here, there are 2 points that I actually look into. Firstly is the role. The role itself is the professional YouTube title writer. Further on, I also add on some key qualities for this specific role itself, such as it is specializing in generating surprisingly good titles that will make any YouTube videos go viral. By doing so, this adds on another level of accuracy to our AI agents. And now instead of just prompting from scratch, it will prompt with the role in mind, narrowing down the information that it needs to find specifically to just writing YouTube titles. And that makes it even more effective and even more powerful than before. Now, role prompting is pretty simple. So the next part that we want to go into is the task. After giving the AI agent a role, we definitely want to tell it what to do. Just the same as us asking anyone to do something for us, we want to define the task as clearly as possible. So in this specific use case, one prompt technique that is useful is called the chain of thought prompt technique. The chain of thought prompt technique provides the model with a step-by-step process for the task that they are supposed to execute. Basically, we're giving it a step-by-step list of actions, making sure the AI actually sticks to the plan and do what we want instead of running out of context. And so one of the things that you should take note of when doing this is to always start with a verb, like generate a newsletter, write a copy, or analyze this specific document. And the key is to be descriptive, but also precise in this specific area. Now, there's a little add-on feature for those that are creating more complex AI solutions. For example, you're actually creating an automation together with a workflow like Make. You will have different variables that you want to link directly to your AI as well. And that's where you can use the brackets over here to actually link the AI to the different resources itself. For example, you could write the description of what you want it to do, and then you could link the data that you'll be getting, such as name, bracket name, any of the link and reference that you can get from the Make automation itself. And that way it will automatically be able to reference and take information from the automation platform. But of course, not to worry about this specific point, as this is more advanced. If you want to learn more about how to utilize this feature, you can look into my other tutorials on creating AI automation workflows using Make, and that would be more relevant to you. But for this specific example today, in more general terms, you don't need to actually add that in. So let's take a look at the example of what we have created. Firstly, if you take a look at the example, I gave it a task firstly to generate curiosity-inducing high-quality titles for YouTube videos with 50 characters or less. So very specific in what I wanted to do. And from there, I decided to use the chain of thought process to give it a list of steps for it to follow. Firstly, to start off with, you can see over here, I write to create an effective title, follow the steps below. We're asking for context about the YouTube channel, or resources to understand more about the user's channel, target audience, and style. And following that, I also give it the next step, which is to get the information of the video that you need to create a title for. And from there, the AI will do a few steps behind the scenes, such as identifying the core topics, subject matter, and purpose of the video. And then next on, I want to make sure that it verifies that it has gotten the right information with the user before it moves forward. So for example, over here, I told the AI that before generating the title, to make sure to return the information that you have received and confirm that this is accurate, and only proceed to the next step if the user has verified the information. And these will be all the information that the AI would need to be able to create an effective YouTube title. Following that, you can also take a look at the rest of the example. I do tell it to continue, such as doing things such as brainstorming, diving deep into potential curiosity gaps or open loop questions, and other options such as including numbers or any strong adjectives. Triple check to make sure the title is 50 characters or less, and make sure to return the title by capitalizing the first letter of each major word, except for short connectors such as of, for, in, etc. And this is mainly what the AI would actually be doing for you when you interact with it. And so once that is done, once you have gotten the task, the next thing you want to do is to have the specifics. The specifics is the part where you highlight any specifics you'd like to say to the agent, you'd like to say to the LLM to take note of when performing the task. Example, to guardrail of what to say, what not to say, etc. And the prompt technique that we can use here is emotional prompting. But on top of the guardrail details that we can give, adding short phrases or sentences that contains emotional points actually helps to enhance the performance of the model. And so here's a simple example to showcase how we can use it for our specific example. For example, we can say it is crucial to our business that the title is understood by our audience as quickly as possible, so to ensure that the title can be read smoothly and is easily understood by a 5th grader. And over here, there's some key sentence to take note of. Firstly, for emotional prompting, we did talk about how it is crucial to our business that the title is understood by our audience. And this line really helps the LM to understand how important this task is to motivate them to do the right job. And from here, we can also add in other pointers that we think are important, such as it is able to be read and understood easily by a 5th grader. And these are things that we want to make sure we guardrail the LM to do so for us. Another example that we can see over here is by saying things like the task is super important in providing first impressions to our potential audience, so make sure the title is grammatically correct. And once again over here you can see we use emotional prompting at the start of it, and behind that we actually add in the guardrails that we want to keep in our specific prompt. And so here's just a simple example of how you can play the specifics to make your prompt even better. But now moving forward, we want to also give it a context, right? A context to what the agent is operating and why this specific task is important. And over here we can use the 2 prompt techniques that we have learned earlier. Firstly, emotional prompting to explain the importance of its role, and following that, role prompting to further clarify what it is doing and why. And so over here, we combine role prompting and emotional prompting by saying your role in creating the best titles is super essential to ensure that the education team's hours of research in creating the most valuable content is shown to the right audience. And by accurately and precisely creating the best titles that grab attention on our YouTube channel, you directly contribute to the growth and success of our company. Therefore, we greatly value your careful consideration and attention to your work. And this example really showcases what the context of the agent is and what it is supposed to do, helping it truly understand the context of why and what it is going to do to make sure that the results that it provides for us are once again more accurate to what we want to see. And of course, moving forward, we definitely want to give it examples as well. So after we give it the different tasks and context that we have, giving examples will really help the agent to be able to reference and produce more accurate results to what we exactly want to see. And one of the popular techniques that we can use here is called few shot prompting. Few shot itself means few examples to condition the models through different examples, which can be text, code, or images, allowing the model to perform new tasks without long hours of fine-tuning. Right, think of this concept of learning by example, right? Just like how we humans tend to learn something first by referencing the right answers. And so over here, you can take a look at an example of what we can write in our prompt over here. Here we do have 12 different examples of what a great title really is. With the vast amount of data online, many different people have different opinions of what actually is a good title, right? And so essentially this allows us to really once again narrow down and make sure that the AI knows what we want by giving it references. And so what I've noticed in my prompting journey is that it is good to at least have 3 to 5 different examples. You can have way more as well if that's what you want. And over here you can also see I gave an example of what traits a great title should really include, such as the ability to immediately spark curiosity and interest within the first 10 seconds, effectively convey the message of the video in a concise manner, and so on. And this by itself really also further helps the AI to understand what we actually want. And last but not least, the final section is notes. Key of this section is to really add in any final details that we want the agent to take note of. So one of the things that happens when you're writing long prompts for the agents itself is that there is a lost in middle effect, whereby the large language model performs best with relevant information at the front of it and the end of the input. And in the long input itself, the information in the middle may be forgotten. And so this is important to further emphasize and remind the agent of key points that we want it to do for us. Of course, do remember that less is always more, so be very specific in your prompt as well. One of the key things that I've also learned along the way is that don't use negative prompt, right? I do know that everyone else asks you to do many different negative prompts, but what happens here is that there will be the elephant issue. If we tell someone to not think of an elephant, they will start to think of the elephant itself. So one good practice that you can do when you're crafting out your prompts is that you can use a positive prompt instead to tell it exactly what you want. For example, you want it to do something like no clickbait. You can actually change the prompt and ask it to create authentic titles, right? Craft titles that are accurately reflecting the content while still generating genuine curiosity. This by itself may actually get a better result from the AI as well. So do give it a try. And here's an example of what we can put into the notes section for our prompt for the YouTube title generator agent. You can see over here, I want it to take note of such as consistency, right, to ensure the tone and style of the title matches the overall branding and style of our YouTube channel, to create authentic titles, right, SEO optimization, and to keep our target audience in mind as well. And with all these points covered, you have a fully completed prompt itself. So let's just take a look. You can see over here, just copying everything that we have written earlier. This is how the prompt would actually look like. With the role over here, followed by the task, whatever we have created earlier, and followed by the specifics. You can see over here, the context, the example, right, and lastly the notes itself. And so that essentially encompasses our prompt for our YouTube title generate. And lastly, before we move on to try out the example, once again, right, the last point that we want to take note of is the format itself. Right, one practice that I would like to do is to always write my prompts first in a Word document and then copy it over to GPT. The problem with that is that sometimes when we copy over, it does lose the beautiful format that we have in our Word document itself. So one effective way that we can mitigate this issue is to consider using Markdown formats, where OpenAI teams actually write their prompts in Markdown too. So we can use things like the hash, double hash, or triple hash to represent header 1, header 2, header 3, right? Or we can also use lists like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Or we could also use horizontal rules as well. These are things that we want to take note of as we copy our prompts and input them into the AI. And so now moving back to the YouTube title generator prompt, you can see over here we have the full prompt, and all we gotta do now to test it out is to copy it. All right, copy the whole prompt itself, and then we go to ChatGPT and test it out. And over here you can see I've given it a description such as to generate viral and curiosity inducing high quality titles for YouTube videos with 50 characters or less. Right, wonderful. So over here in the instruction, that's where I'll add in my prompt. So you can see I copied and pasted over here, right? And you can see over here I start off with the role itself, with the hashtag to categorize each section, the task category, and you can see it is nicely formatted so that the AI could understand what we are saying. And moving on to the specifics, the context, the example, and of course the notes itself. So not to worry, if you want to have this prompt, I do have it in the link in description, so do download that to try it out. Okay, and so once this is done, I give it a conversation starter, such as to generate a catchy YouTube title for my new video. Right, over here we can give it a try, so let's click this button. Right, and as you can see the preview, it does tell us what we want, right? So you can see from my prompt itself, I did tell it to get the 4 important pointers, such as the channel name, the channel focus, the video topic, and the target audience. Make sure that I actually give it the information that it needs, as well as verify it before it actually helps me create a title. Right, so we can start off and try this out. We can say that my channel is www.youtube.com/@dynami_AI, and let's see what happens. So you can see over here it's search the web, and it does have the Dynami AI over here, so super cool. This is because I've added in the web browsing capabilities as well, so this is super effective for us to create our prompt. Now maybe you can even ask it further, what is my YouTube channel about? And you can see over here, it says that Dynamic AI focuses on AI-powered tools, tutorials, and innovation. It aims to educate and inform businesses and individuals on how to leverage AI technology effectively. Super cool, right? This is exactly what we're doing here in Dynamic AI. Nice. So now let's say we want to provide it with the specific topic of our new video and our target audience. I can tell it the new video is a prompt engineering guides to create amazing AI agents and workflow. Right. So once again, you see, before it helps me to create catchy titles, so it actually returns what it understands and asks me to verify it. And this is exactly what I ask it to do in our prompt task over here, where we want to make sure that the information that we have received and confirmed is accurate, and only proceed to the next step if the user has verified this information. So this part of it is super effective in ensuring that the AI adhere to what we want it to do. Okay, and so yeah, let's say yes, it's accurate, right? And so it gives us like a few titles for the options. Amazing, right? All these are pretty cool options. Unlock AI power, master prompt engineering secrets for AI agents and workflow. I do like this one. Create AI magic, pretty cool. Transform workflows with prompt engineering for AI, very straightforward. And AI agents simplified, ultimate prompt engineering tips. And so you could even ask it, could you explain your thought process in getting these titles for us? And you can see by asking it the thought process, it does tell you why it actually comes up with these different titles, right? The curiosity hook is one of the key things that we talk about in creating these AI titles. And you can see over here, it explains to you how it actually utilizes this feature itself to create each and every single title itself. And you can see it actually really follows the prompts that we give it. And this is just the beginning. We can definitely make it better as well by uploading files or even further enhancing our prompt itself. So I hope you find this guide useful, and now you have gone from zero to becoming an expert in prompt engineering. While using these basic principles, you can now go out there and start prompting and create more effective and accurate results for your own use cases. So if you do like videos like this, do give it a like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more advanced workflows, I do have more videos on AI automation, so do check that out. Once again, I really appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.